Good Wednesday morning, October 16th, 2024, covering the career of Ted Williams by looking at all his box scores, his accomplishments, his achievements. What a player, Hall of Fame. I started with 1939 season, and right now I'm covering the 1953 season. So I've covered four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seasons I've covered. The last video, 1952 season, was not much to speak about because Ted Williams was serving in the military that year. Played only 6 games. He was fighting in the Korean War during the 1952 and 53 season. He flew 33 combat missions and got hit 3 times. He also developed pneumonia. So what happened in the 1953 season? He's not playing in the beginning of the year, but about halfway, or maybe 3/4 of the way, he got honorably discharged from the military and returned to play for the Boston Red Sox in 1953. He appeared in 37 games, 91 at-bats, 17 runs scored, 37 hits, 6 doubles, no triples, 13 homers, 34 RBIs, no stolen bases, 19 walks. So he bats .407. Yeah, but it was only 37 hits and 91 at-bats. So it's not a full season. You can't count that as a 400 batting season. You got to have like 500 at-bats. On base, 509. Slugging, 901. See, he slugs 982 total bases. He had a 12-game hitting streak, 10 multi-hit games, 9 doubles, 1-4. No, he had 10 multi-hit games. He had 9 2-hit games, 1 4-hit game, 2 games, 2 runs scored, 3 games, 2 RBIs, 3 games, 3 RBIs, 2 games, 4 RBIs. So not much to speak about in the 1953 season for Ted Williams. But so far, covering his career from 1939 through 1953, I'm impressed. If you look at the box scores, which I did, I looked at every box score. He's got some kind of career going on, despite the fact that it's almost 5 seasons in his prime that he's missing. And yet, up to this point, he has proven to me that he's one of the greatest hitters of all time. Now, as far as ranking him, I still got Ty Cobb number 1 because I looked at every box score of Ty Cobb's 24-year career. 366 career batting average and 4,189 hits and 12 batting titles. Incredible. As far as hitting for Ty Cobb. Cobb wasn't a power hitter, but he did produce over 19 RBIs. So he got a lot of doubles, triples, singles. He won a triple crown, Ty Cobb. Did you know that Ted Williams won 2 triple crowns, which is leading the league in batting, home runs, and RBIs in the same year? Triple crown. Ty Cobb had 1. How about Ted Williams? 2 of them. What years did he have the triple crown? He had a triple crown 1941. I have to punch in Baseball Reference to find out when what years Ted Williams had the Triple Crown. I want to get the years correct. Okay. So if you go to this Google spacebar, put in Triple Crown years for Ted Williams, it'll come up. 1942. He hit .356 with 36 homers and 137 RBIs. Triple Crown. 1947. He hit .343 with 32 homers and 114 RBIs. He's one of two players to win the Triple Crown twice. Who was the other guy? Rogers Hornsby. He won it in 1922 and 1925. Two players have won the Triple Crown twice. Now, there's other guys who have won it once. Do you know that Ted Williams, I mentioned it before, missed about 5 years of baseball seasons? Probably about 800 games. Do you think Ted Williams could have had a third Triple Crown, leading the league in hitting, homers, and RBIs? It's possible. So that's why I'm going to rank Ted Williams in the top 5 greatest hitter of all time. Is he number 2 or 3, 4, or 5? Well, what I want to do, I want to look at other players. I looked at Rogers Hornsby's box scores. I looked at Tris Speaker's box scores. I'm just focusing on hitting. It's not the power. It's not the all-around game where you have all the categories. That would be, to me, considered the greatest baseball players of all time. They look at all the categories. How about just focusing on pure hitting? Who are the top 5 greatest pure hitters of all time? You got to look at Tony Gwynn. You got to look at Rogers Hornsby. You got to look at Tris Speaker. Pete Rose, 4,256 hits. Pure hitting. How much did they hit? How much hits did they average per game played? You know another guy you got to look at? Ed Delonte. Why? He played 1,800 games and got 2,500 hits, which is an average of 1.41 hits per game played. 1,800 games for Ed Delonte. If he played 3,000 games, what would his career total have been? Same with Gwynn. He was averaging, he played, I'd say, let's look it up. I forgot how many games Gwynn played. Tony Gwynn, here it is, Baseball Reference. How many games? Yeah, 2,400 games. If Gwynn had played 3,000 games, could he have approached 4,000 hits? Maybe. How about Hornsby? 2,200 games, 2,900 hits. See, he's averaging more than a hit per game, like something like 1.35 hits per game. Cobb was about 1.39.40 hits per game. Delonte beat him as far as hits per game average. Did you know that? I wrote a book on it. And what I did was I looked at how many career hits a player had, and I looked at how many games. And what you do is divide it. Divide the hits into the games played. You will get the average of hits per game played. Delonte was number 1. I believe another guy who was up there was Sam Thompson. But he only played about 1,400 games for Thompson. Didn't get into enough games because he was in the old school era. And then Delonte is about 1,800 games plus. Gwynn, 2,400. Hornsby, 2,200. You know another guy, Lou Gehrig, about 2,200 games. See, Cobb was over the 3,000 game mark. So was Aaron. Mays got close to 3,000 games. Ripken, 3,000. Yeah, Carl Yastrzemski, about 3,000 games. But their average of hits per game was much lower. Of course, they extended their career, so as a result, the average of hits per game will go down with the more games you play. How about Cobb? Over 3,000 games. And he still averaged about 1.40 hits per game played. Ted Williams. So what are we saying about Ted Williams? How many games did Williams play? Let's see if I can get the exact number. Ted Williams games played. Here it is. Close to 2,300 games. See, if Ted Williams had 3,000 games played, what would his career totals be? All right, that covers 1953 season. Ted didn't play that much. So now that he's back from the Korean War, what does he do in the 1954 season? That will be our next video. We'll talk to you later. I'm out.